Previously on Libel the Bible.
Moses translates thunder into the Ten Commandments.
God hates churches.
God's okay with slavery.
God gets super specific about violence.
And now, episode 18 of Libel the Bible. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Libel the Bible. I'm Scott.
I'm Rusty.
So Rusty apparently didn't like the way I handled our plan last week of going line by line, and so he actually gave me a script now, stuff I have to read, because it's all about Rusty. Scott's not allowed to inject any color into the conversation, so it's going to be a more regimented episode, I think.
I will never get tired of Scott gaslighting me at the start of every episode.
What's up, man?
Nah, not much. Let's talk about
why you weren't here on Sunday to record this. You want to talk about that?
No, I was tired Sunday.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm thinking this was last week with Easter. I'm sorry. Forget it.
No, we already had that conversation. Yeah.
Forget I even brought it up.
Yeah, you busted me on that. You busted me. I went to a relative's house for Easter to celebrate he is risen. This Sunday, I was just tired. I had a bit busy weekend.
That's fine. We should probably consider, actually, as the summer approaches, maybe not recording on Sundays.
Because of weekends, drinking, this, that.
Well, not because of drinking. Not drinking here at the recording studio.
No, I'm saying you drinking over the weekend and being tired on Sunday night before the week starts. Sure, I get it. I understand. But what I really wanted to talk about to start was the debacle of last episode. So I uploaded the episode this morning. Typically we record on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
The episode that we record on a Sunday, we have a 9-day window before we upload it. So we record on a Sunday and we upload it on a Tuesday, 9 days after the recording, right? Not 2 days later, Tuesday, the next week's Tuesday. I did not start editing the episode until last night, which is 8 days after we recorded it, and then I uploaded it last night. And I wanted to talk to you about it.
Before we listen,
okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Maybe we shouldn't have 9 days. Maybe I want to push more this podcast towards symbolism.
Yeah.
Maybe we should cut it down, edit it on the 8th day after the recording.
Why 8th day?
Same time as the circumcision, 8 days after birth.
So
let's
editing
cut this thing on the 8th day.
You think God was like, at a certain point, he was like, "Yo, Abraham, I fucked some shit up with the penis. I'm gonna need you to edit some penises."
Oh shit! I didn't think
you know
about
what
that.
I mean?
Yeah, when you get a plastic model. I don't know if kids do this anymore, and all the pieces are attached to that, the
yes,
or whatever,
yes,
and you have to break the pieces off.
Yes,
and that shit that's left sometimes,
the dangling
you have to take a freaking razor blade and cut that off.
Yeah,
that's the penis.
That's what it is. That's the penis.
Everybody was joined to a piece of plastic.
Oh, so the penis was attached to
right. So you break it off, and then you take the razor, the X-Acto knife, and you cut it flush.
See, this is what's great about this show. People tune in to learn the facts of anatomy, history,
and why we do things.
Yeah, all these things. Yeah.
We were all made out of plastic at one time.
Psychology, right? The motivations for things.
Yeah.
Earrings. Scott discovered earrings last week. He got all excited. I was listening to the episode today. He was like, "This is where earrings came from," and I was like,
"Oh yeah, when they got nailed to the wall."
Yeah, I was like, "No." So anyway, those of you who are listened or will listen to episode 17, I titled it after a Beverly Cleary novel. Remember? Hey God, it's me, Margaret, or whatever it was.
It's funny, when I read the episode name 20 minutes ago, I was like, that sounds familiar, but I couldn't place it.
So I titled it, what did I title it? Hey Moses, it's
me, God.
Yeah, it's me, God, whatever. So I edited out about 12 to 16 minutes of the beginning of the show mostly.
It was a train wreck, that show.
All right, so I want Scott. So describe to the audience what happened in the beginning of the episode that they will never hear.
I gave Rusty another chance to have a "I told you so" moment. I didn't open my bottle of wine. I went to open it, and then the
Oh, this is the humorous part. Well, this part is actually in the episode. So, like, you're telling them shit that they're going to listen to. I'm talking about my rant. Feel free to tell them about my rant.
Yeah, I pulled out the yellow pages and looked up available podcast partners because I thought for sure I was going to have to replace Rusty. Not because I was going to fire him, because I thought he was literally going to melt in front of me. He was so heated.
Yeah.
And angry. And
I appeared very angry.
And I think I told
But
you.
what was I ranting about? Tell the audience what I was ranting about. It's okay. Don't be shy.
What are you ranting about? Hold on.
You don't remember?
Oh, that people were not responding on social media.
So I was upset. Right. So I was going off on like the listeners.
Yeah.
I was talking about like the Twitterverse and the Twitter contest. And listening back, shit, I'm tapping like the pen against this wood. There's no way the mic's not picking it up.
What are you doing?
So, all right. Sorry. We'll cut that out. Okay. All right. So I was really ranting about the Twitterverse and the contest that we were involved with and our listeners. And here's what happened.
This is your stage, man. Explain yourself. But the listeners aren't going to know like how bad it was.
No, it was bad.
It was pretty bad.
It was bad.
I've known Rusty a long time, and
like I was
wasn't his worst, but it was definitely bad.
So I'll break it down. So it started off as a skit. Like I was trying to make like a skit where I took like a small sample of like a thought and a feeling that I had, like annoyance. Like I was honestly like annoyed, you know. I wasn't like raging. I wasn't triggered by anything, but I was a little annoyed by members of like our audience for not engaging more with us on social media, you know.
In social media in general, or in particular that we needed their votes?
In general, in general, like not receiving enough feedback from people that listen to us.
You need lavish affirmation.
It's not the lavish affirmation. It's hard to do this like in a vacuum. You know what I mean? Like when you're working in a vacuum, you don't know, are you losing people? You know, like, do you need to make certain adjustments? Are you doing what you need to be doing, like, to satisfy the audience? You know what I mean? So when there's no feedback, it's hard to know exactly how, you know, what you need to adjust.
To that point, that's why a lot of times I like to take a break from my television and movie appearances and like to get back to the stage, you know, because you get that instant feedback from the audience. Right. Yeah.
Yes. So we're gonna have to rent out some theaters, go on tour, and you know, really interact with the audience. So I was a little annoyed, right?
Wait, I gotta stop you.
Go ahead.
Interact with the audience. Me interrupting you annoys you. Can you imagine all 16 of our listeners who were interrupting you?
All right, you're right. So
you'd have to be in a vacuum, like in a sound booth.
Oh, like separated, like an animal, like a lion on Noah's Ark. Just keep them away from the meat.
Don't need any platypuses.
Open up the door whenever I have to say something, right? Like the trap slide it open. So because I was a little annoyed, what I wanted to do was, you know, a lot of my persona, what endears me to people is I create a caricature of myself where like I become a heightened sense of myself. Like that's a lot of my humor results from like me being hyperbolic and exaggerating like my emotions and being loud and boisterous.
There's a name for that. Exhausting. Sorry, go ahead.
So I started to rant, right? Now, when all was said and done and we listened back to the episode, that shit was crazy. Like it sounded like I sounded like
psychotic.
I sounded like Jack Nicholson in the courtroom scene of like A Few Good Men, you know? Like, you want us on that wall. You need us on that wall. Why? So little pukes like you know what I was really like, I could have won an Academy Award. Yeah. So what was so stark for me listening back was it wasn't at all like how emotionally I was feeling, but here's exactly what happened. I'm gonna explain to you. You're making like these faces like I'm full of shit. Like
no, not at all. No. I mean, I was there. I saw what happened.
All right. So here's what's going on, man, and it's affecting me today.
Stop tapping.
Sorry. What's today's date? The 25th, 26th?
26th.
Okay, today's the 26th.
Oh no, we can't reveal what day we're recording.
So it's been 22 days since I've quit smoking.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't really have a lot of urges to smoke. I mean, I can't say I don't have urges to smoke. I do. But that hasn't been my main issue. My main issue has been I've been feeling like really mentally foggy and fatigued. Especially so the past like 2.5, 3 weeks. Like really, like I've been walking around in a mental fog. And I started reading about it this week, and I mean, nicotine's a stimulant.
Sure.
And so, you know, I've been smoking for a good portion of my life. Like I've quit. This is my third time quitting. So I really started smoking when I was 18, 19, and I've quit twice prior to this time. And each time that I quit was like for a period of 2 or 3 years. So for a period of 2 or 3 years, you know, I quit smoking 2 times before this. But it wasn't as bad for me in terms of mental fatigue as it has been now. So here's the problem. Here's what wound up happening. So I sat down to the mic last week. I didn't even have a coffee with me last week, which I usually do. Like I'll have a coffee to like, or like I'll have like a 5-hour energy before we start talking.
I had no idea you were doing this.
What?
Taking 5-hour energies. I didn't know you were all stimulated and shit.
You literally watched me drink one in your kitchen one night, and we had a whole conversation about it where you told me like you can't really do those, like they affect you a certain way.
Hard,
and I told you like different people have different physiologies.
Oh, yeah.
So
no
I'm not hiding anything.
I literally have no recollection of that conversation.
I mean, I'm not hiding anything. So anyway, so when I sat down to talk last week, I had this like fog in my brain. And what winds up happening is I can't find the correct vocabulary when I'm trying to express myself. Like I know what I want to say, right? But I'm not finding the vocabulary. Now, if we were like hanging out in your living room, I might take like a couple of seconds. I might take a step back. But because we're recording a show, you know, I have to speak. I can't leave like dead air. So what winds up happening is I'll speak the first like basic word that sort of describes like what I'm thinking. And so I was trying to be nuanced and funny in my rant last week, you know, make it like a skit about like I'm so upset about like this and that. But I wasn't like able to find like the nuanced like voice pattern or the language. So like I wanted to make a joke about like our audience if they start like a Kickstarter campaign for like a sickness, you know, I wish they would, so like I wouldn't have to like contribute to them, like a joke, you know what I mean? But I took it to like the most basic like level and like the most disturbing level because I couldn't think, you know what I mean?
I have to ask, did you, I know you edited it out, but did you save the recording?
Yeah, we have the original. Yeah, we have
that's going to be locked away, and that's going to come out one day. You know when it's going to come out? When you like run for president or something?
when I get nominated to the Supreme Court.
And I try to destroy you.
I can't run for president. I wasn't born in this country.
It won't be the first lie you've told.
So yeah, I wanted to explain to you, it wasn't like anger. It's like I've been feeling, so now, even now I'm sitting here and I feel my eyes are just like drooping down because of like this fatigue that I feel from having quitting smoking. And from what I read, like it can last like up to a month, a little bit longer.
So I'm now on 11 years without a cigarette, and it was probably 3 years ago that I stopped like having regular cravings.
Really?
Yeah, like a lot of people, they say they quit, they get over it quick, and it's no, not me. I mean, like 8 years.
Well, what's regular cravings?
Like at least once a day.
Oh, that's.
Well, now I don't get. Now I go weeks and weeks without like,
Yeah.
even thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know? So you'll get through this, man. You'll get through this, and we're here for you, man. Well, I mean, I'll be here.
Who's
for you.
we?
I mean, nobody's listening. Like, and if they heard you last,
They're
week,
not
they
here.
definitely
That's the whole point of the rant. They're not here for us.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you this brain fog you speak of. I've had that brain fog like since the 90s. So
Well, that's another thing. You know what's going on? We're sunsetting. You ever hear that term, sunsetting?
Yeah, but not like just a general term like a person is sunsetting.
Like our brains, man. Like we're getting like to that age now where we don't recall things as quickly. Like, we're not pulling things up like,
Yeah.
It's just, we're getting old.
Like,
I used to feel the most comfortable behind the wheel of a car. Not anymore.
that's funny because most of your passengers felt the exact opposite with you. But you were an excellent driver.
So last week, the actual show, we wound up reading Exodus 20 and 21 section by section because it was laws.
Right. Until I went off script.
Well, you didn't go off script. You started paraphrasing.
Yeah.
So that's all right. I corrected you, and you
Corrected me
snapped
by
too.
putting this script in my face today.
Well, it's not a script. It's the actual Bible.
Yeah.
So today we're going to do Exodus 22 and 23, and it's pretty much going to follow the same format. We're gonna read. I'm sorry. Stop looking at the time. Don't worry about the time. I saw what you just did. Scott just looked at like the recording to see like, how long into our banter are we? And he was satisfied with it. He was all right with it. You got to stop worrying about the time.
All right. No, I want to know if I can get in like my gift unwrapping on the air, but you know what?
Oh, is that what it is?
No, we'll do it next week.
He's
We'll do it
very
next week.
excited about
We'll do
his
it next
gift.
week.
He mentioned it last week, or
Did I maybe?
oh,
I don't
maybe
know.
not on air. You mentioned it off air.
Maybe. We'll talk about it next week.
All right.
We'll save it for next week.
So Scott's gonna really try and stay on mic today while we do Exodus 22 and 23. We left off with laws about oxen.
Lots of oxen.
Yeah, lots of ox last week. And Exodus 22 starts off with laws of restitution, right? Like getting paid back for shit, right?
Yep.
You want to start us off with Exodus 22?
Sure. When someone steals an ox or a sheep and slaughters it or sells it, the thief shall pay 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. B.
Well,
You want to talk about that? Or no, we'll just keep going.
go ahead.
The thief shall make restitution, but if unable to do so, shall be sold for the theft. When the animal, whether ox or donkey or sheep, is found alive in the thief's possession, the thief shall pay double. Oh, okay, all right. So I get it. So now, if they catch you,
Yeah.
and the ox is gone, they got to give you 5 ox.
Right.
If they can't, you sell them into slavery. Right? That's what it's saying.
Yeah.
And if it's found alive, you get your ox back plus 2 or just double. Like, it says the thief shall pay double.
Yeah. So in other words, like if he stole an ox
Yes,
and he's found with the ox, he pays you back the ox that he stole and 2 more, I guess, right? Because that's double.
I guess it's open. I bet you lawyers later debate this and probably clarify this.
The
more.
semantics
like an
of
amendments made to this, probably. Or?
Yeah. Why are oxen more valuable than sheep, though? Why do you get 5 oxen but only 4 sheep?
Because sheep are only good for like their meat and their wool.
Yeah.
Where oxen are also like machinery of the time.
But that's all they do.
They can drag. You can't. You don't eat ox.
They probably didn't eat ox. I would think they ate goats and sheep and used ox for like
Just for the
plowing.
machinery? Okay, that's possible. They didn't do the oxtail yet.
I don't know. I don't know what they ate.
Maybe these laws weren't written in the Caribbean yet.
In what? In the Caribbean.
Yeah. That's possible. And you know what? That means if that's true, then the oxen should definitely be worth more. That's like stealing a man's tools, like a mechanic's tools.
It's just
you
funny.
deprived his way of life, like for making a living.
Right, but that makes okay. Because I was about to make a joke about how the first law of restitution is like with an ox, again with the ox. But your point,
Your way of life, man.
yeah,
That's how you feed your family.
It's how you feed your family, exactly. All right.
You want to read the second one?
If a thief is found breaking in and is beaten to death, no blood guilt is incurred. But if it happens after sunrise, blood guilt is incurred. All right. So you're in your house.
Mm-hmm.
You're asleep. It's nighttime. A thief is like crawling into your window. You could take like whatever weapon you want, right? Bash them over the head until they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it's nighttime, you're all right.
Yeah.
Right? No blood guilt is incurred. I'm assuming blood guilt, meaning like you're not guilty of a crime
shedding
of like
blood.
murder,
Yeah.
or you don't have to be embarrassed by it.
It's very Klingon, that term.
But if it happens after sunrise, blood guilt is incurred.
Maybe it's because your alarm system doesn't go off, the lights don't come on, so you're killing an intruder that's faceless to you because it's dark, you don't know what's going on. But in the daylight, you have time to assess the situation a little better, maybe?
But if someone's breaking into your house...
Yeah, but maybe it was a drunk guy, just was in the wrong house.
But what if it's an actual thief breaking into your house in the daytime?
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
As a responsible gun owner, what I would do when someone breaks into the house is I'd wake up, I'd try to remember where my safe is, try to remember the combinations of the safe, get the unloaded gun, then find the other place where the bullets are kept because they shouldn't be kept together, and then
and then you fire the gun and it's dark and you miss, and now not only can you not see, you can't hear because of the sound of the goddamn gun.
Yeah,
because you're not putting on like your earphones, right?
Yeah. You know what somebody told me the best home defense weapon is? Fire extinguisher.
Because it just sprays.
It obscures vision. It's a wide shot, and it sucks the air out.
Why not a flamethrower?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. You can clean up a fire extinguisher. Flamethrower, that's kind of hard to clean up after.
So, all right. So this thing right here, the whole like, if you find someone breaking into your house, you can beat them to death as long as it's nighttime. This is the kind of thing that like you need a biblical scholar for, because it's rooted in the history of when this was written, like why this particular law of restitution was like included. You know what I mean? Like why the distinction between sunrise and nighttime.
Wait, maybe. If some dude's breaking into your house in the middle of the night, almost no chance it's not to rob you. It's like it's definitely a crime. Where someone enters your house during the day,
maybe they're just coming in to fuck your wife.
Possibly. But if it happens during the day, maybe there's
this
more...
This is where the whole like thing with the pregnant wife, like where the two men fight and fuck up like the pregnant woman.
Right, that's fine, but if you come in during the day, you might have an ulterior motive. But now you might come to my house in the middle of the day.
Well, what's the ulterior motive?
Wait. You come into my house. You come into my house to collect a debt I owe you. And I go, oh, yeah, it's right here. It's right there. Bend down and get it. And I hit you over the head with a candlestick. Oh, he was robbing me. They're like, nobody robs during the day. We can't prove what really went down, but chances are it's not what you're making it out to be.
All right, so what you're saying is valid if the third word in the sentence wasn't there. If a thief is found breaking in.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. How do you know if he's a thief? He's dead.
Well, that's the whole thing, too.
Yeah.
Like, who's judging this? Is this a thief after the fact, or are you yourself able to judge if it's a thief?
Yeah, all right.
It's all very vague.
Yeah, like I said, they probably expound
But this
on
is God. So, look.
Wait, was this God?
So, a man...
Wait, time out. I don't think this was God.
Yeah, these are gods.
We're going to have to check this. I think this was just after God gave the commandments, and I think the were like... These were derived from that, but
no, this is so. I looked. So remember, God isn't speaking necessarily; He's thunder, right? And Moses is interpreting what God is saying as thunder. So this is Moses, right? Mm-hmm. But it's God. It's God's commands to Moses. These are God's commands.
Do you remember when who was Moses's advisor that told him set up different court levels, different judges?
Oh, that was his what do you call it? Jethro, his father-in-law.
Okay, so isn't this a little beneath God? These rules, like he gave the 10 Commandments, which are pretty high-level commandments. He gets pretty granular here.
And
seems like
even
it's below him.
So let's even play with the fact that this isn't God, right? Like, let's say this is just a rabbi 2,000 years after the events writing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
People say these words were written because of inspiration, that like God, like, you know what I mean? God inspired these words to be written. So these are like the infallible, basically it's not the literal words of God. It's inspired by God, but this particular section that we're reading, Exodus 22, this is absolutely Moses on top of Mount Sinai getting instructions from God. So this is God giving him instructions.
So this could be like based on characters created by Gene Roddenberry.
This is canon.
This is canon, but based on characters.
What do you mean?
Like, because it's not the literal word of God.
Well, there is no literal word of God. He's thunder.
Right. All right.
So you have to trust that woman that's doing sign language actually knows sign language.
All right, that's fine.
All right. So next, Exodus 22:5, Scott.
When someone causes a field or vineyard to be grazed over, or lets livestock loose to graze in someone else's field, restitution shall be made from the best in the owner's field or vineyard.
From the best.
Which means you fuck up my shit, I'm taking the best of your shit as restitution.
So I get something, and then I get something for my pain and suffering on top of that. So like
I guess
so it can't be equal because you've made me to suffer. So I get a little extra on top.
Yeah, but what if my field sucks, your field sucks? So I get the best of your sucky field. So, I guess, yeah. You better hope.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Just keep your fucking livestock.
Yeah, I mean, it seems reasonable. That one seems all right. Like,
that seems reasonable.
Yeah,
But
I'll allow it.
How many people do you think have a shit field?
Yeah.
And they go and they loosen the fence posts, so their neighbor's ox comes over and
Because they're
fucks up your
Jewish,
shit.
right, Scott?
What?
Because they're Jewish.
What? Who's what?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, you're talking about.
All right. Exodus 22:6.
Mm-hmm.
When fire breaks out and catches in thorns, so that the stacked grain. I'm already lost. Like, I'm reading this. Are you following this? No, really. Are you following? Scott's got wine he's about to spit out.
Yeah, I'm following it just fine.
Okay, you're understanding what's happening? All right, maybe because I'm reading it and I'm hearing my voice.
Yeah, right.
out loud,
You're not really
I'm having,
concentrating on the understanding. You're just concentrating on articulating it. So just get it out.
When fire breaks out and catches in thorns, so that the stacked grain or the standing grain or the field is consumed, the one who started the fire shall make full restitution. Well, yeah. I mean, if you start a fire and you're at fault, you got to make a payment. That's like seems obvious. Why do people need to be told this?
Because if there's no law, say I didn't break the law by burning your shit down. What the fuck are you talking about?
Really?
Yeah.
But these people existed in a society, in a civilization. Like the Egyptian civilization was a great civilization.
Well, like you said, maybe the Egyptian civilization is.
Yeah.
They left Egypt, remember? They left the good civilization.
But
this is a raw, blank slate civilization now.
But it's not like laws and how to act are something new to these people.
Oh, these people are running amok now without the Egyptian overseers.
You think that's what's going on?
Yeah,
they're just like toddlers.
Yeah, it's going crazy.
All right.
Oh, look at me playing with firecrackers.
All right.
Oh, the barn burned down.
All right.
Jerk.
Exodus,
And the thorns? Is that what was confusing? The thorns?
well, yeah. When fire breaks out and catches in thorns.
Well, the stacked grain or the standing grain is probably wrapped in vines that have thorns on them. They wrap it up to
Okay.
nice, and those thorns catch fire, and the whole thing.
Okay.
I just made that up, though. I don't know really.
I mean, it makes sense. Whatever. So like,
Do
right.
vines have thorns?
So when you cultivate some shit and it catches fire, if some asshole set fire to it,
Yeah.
like
Totally
like that crazy woman that started the Chicago fire, or the cow. Do you know about that?
Well, every fire, like
The Great Fire of Chicago, which is basically why Chicago became the first city with skyscrapers. So Chicago is basically like all wood,
structures. Yeah,
and then like they had that Great Fire.
it's great.
And they had to rebuild like the whole city. And apparently, I don't know if this is real or not, but the urban legend is some cow knocked over like a lantern, and that's like eventually what started it.
Oh,
But
really?
I heard a really fucking cool theory.
Well, it's gonna be fact checked. So go ahead.
Apparently, there was like a meteor strike recorded on that
Nice.
day. I forgot where specifically, somewhere like in the Midwest. And that sent like a fucking giant like ball of like flame. And that's like what caused the fire. I forgot where I saw this. I forgot like what program I was watching, what channel, but I
Ancient
distinctly
aliens.
remembered that particular theory. What?
Ancient aliens. God, the crazy-
No, it wasn't like that. I didn't really watch that show.
No, it's awful.
Yeah. But it seemed legit. From when I was watching it, it seemed like it was 100% possible.
Let's say that same event happened before technology existed.
Which event? The fire?
So the meteor came down from heaven
okay. Yeah.
and struck
From heaven.
down, burned to waste Chicago,
Yeah.
the land of the roving rapists, living like crazy. Wouldn't the story come out that God smited the city of Chicago for their deviant ways?
Oh, I see what
You
you're
know what I'm
saying.
saying? Like maybe Sodom and Gomorrah were hit by a meteor.
Right. I mean,
That would explain why Lot's wife turned to salt.
right. No, I mean, no. Everything you're saying makes 100% sense.
The thing
What
I
I'm-
just added about the salt. I just threw that out.
No,
there.
what I'm right. What I'm saying is, first of all, like Sodom probably didn't exist, right? Like the actual town of Sodom probably did not exist, but maybe there was a town that got hit by like a meteor and
sure.
wiped out, and then they created this fucking
No, there was too much backup evidence that Sodom existed.
too much backup
Yeah,
evidence.
'cause
What's
they-
the backup
The
evidence?
sister city Gomorrah. Why'd they mention Gomorrah?
Did they mention Gomorrah?
Sodom and Gomorrah. Oh wait, no,
That's what I'm saying. Like we know Sodom and Gomorrah from just
Gomorrah
like,
was mentioned,
in
but
the
it said the
Bible-
depravity of Sodom.
in the Bible. Like
Gomorrah was collateral damage. Why admit to that if it didn't happen?
I don't remember reading that though. I remember God.
That was at least a month ago. So
But maybe it comes up like in a later book. Because you know how like I told you the Ten Commandments gets revisited like in another book of
maybe Sodom and Gomorrah get revisited like in the 25th century. And it's like mutants running around and humans are scavenging for water and shit.
maybe there's like fan fiction of Sodom and Gomorrah where we really get into the sodomy.
Yeah, that's definitely what that would all be about.
All right, so Scott, Exodus 22 verse 7. There's a lot here.
So what
Are you capable of like reading it?
I can read up to the 8. Let's see. Let's try.
All right, good.
When someone delivers to a neighbor money or goods for safekeeping, and they are stolen from the neighbor's house, then the thief, if caught, shall pay double.
All right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
If the thief is not caught, the owner of the house shall be brought before God, and by God they also mean judges,
Mm-hmm.
to determine whether or not the owner had laid hands on the neighbor's goods. So basically they're saying if no thief is caught, they're going to investigate the person who was entrusted to hold the goods to see if they stole that shit. All right. You look deep in thought over there. Rusty's like, did I leave the iron on?
I'm trying to understand.
Not based on the wrinkles on that shirt.
Trying to understand the what? What's wrinkles have to do with understanding? I don't get it.
You didn't even think about the iron.
The irony,
No, all right.
the iron.
All right, so if the thief, the thief gets caught, they pay double. If the thief is not
I
caught,
don't understand. The owner of the house shall be brought before God to determine whether or not the owner had laid hands on the neighbor's goods.
by
If the
God
thief
they
is
mean
not caught.
they mean judges. If the thief's not caught,
But what if the thief is caught?
it said it right there? The thief pays double.
No, what I'm saying is, if the thief is not caught, the owner of the house shall be brought before God to determine whether or not the owner had laid hands on the neighbor's goods.
Yeah, so they're saying if somebody comes to you and say, Rusty, that money you wanted me to hold, I got robbed. If they catch the robber's got to pay double. If they never catch a robber, they bring me in front of the judges to find out if I actually stole your shit, and I'm just pretending there was a thief.
Oh, right. Because it calls back to the first sentence about the neighbor's goods for safekeeping and all that. Right. I was,
Yeah, so Russ, it was pretty long. Did you
I'm
handle it?
Yeah, I'm having trouble keeping up. I'm telling you, man, I'm not smoking, and it's really affecting my capacity for thought. You think I'm fucking around?
No, I was there. You want to read the next one?
I'll try.
Don't think about it.
I'm going to
Just
try.
read
All right,
it.
I'm going to read through. I feel like an idiot. All right. It's very humbling. All right.
You just get angry about it.
I get frustrated. I'm Russian, so we don't know emotions and feelings. Like, we know happy, we know sad, and we know angry. Like, nuance, like feelings and emotions aren't really a part of our emotional language.
Technically Ukrainian.
It's complicated, right? Like, because it's the former Soviet Union,
So you're
like,
Soviet.
we're all conditioned to say, like, Russian, but yes, I'm Ukrainian. All right. Doesn't matter. Anyway. By the way, your girl, Mila Kunis.
Okay.
You know why I say she's your girl?
Yes.
Because she's Meg. I mean, you love the show. And so she is Ukrainian, but she does the same thing in interviews. Like she'll like say Russian, you know, but then she has to explain like, well, it's because when I left, it was the Soviet Union. All right. Exodus 22, verse 9. In any case of disputed ownership involving ox, donkey, sheep, clothing, or any other loss of which one party says, this is mine, the case of both parties shall come before God. The one whom God condemns shall pay double to the other. All right, so I mean, that makes total sense.
And I have to clarify again, when they say God, they mean judges, whatever the judges are.
Right.
So it really does explain why there's in God we trust in all our courthouses and all that stuff, right? That's directly from all of this, right?
I mean, I don't know. You keep looking for meaning from like every little like thing. I'm not saying it's not.
I got to build my Revelation section.
I know. I'm not saying it's not directly from this, but
and when you're on trial, the judge is the God because he can make your life really good or really bad.
And by the way, where does it say in the courtroom, "In God we trust"? I don't think I think one like judge in the South put up like a 10 Commandments in his courtroom, and they made him take that shit down.
Like a lot of courthouses have like biblical like statues and carvings on the outside. It's all over the place. Man.
Biblical
Everywhere.
statues.
I think so.
I don't think so.
All right.
Certainly not here in New York.
Let's go on. Well, it's liberal.
They might have like Greco-Roman, like like justice.
On one of our side projects, we will do a tour of like government buildings and see how much Bible shit is in there. All right.
Yeah, we'll start a TikTok channel where we visit courthouses looking for biblical references and statues.
But then it would only be like 30 seconds each, and we have to dance. Like
I don't think TikTok limits you to 30 seconds.
Does it limit you to dancing?
I think people limit themselves to 30 seconds because that's like the attention span for most TikTok watchers.
Right, what about the dancing, though? Do I have to dance?
No, you don't have to dance. I'll dance.
All right, man.
By the way, so I just found out today there's a new thing on TikTok. It's apparently the Sprite Challenge. Have you heard of this fucking stupidity?
I have a bottle of Sprite, 2-liter bottle.
We're not doing it. So you got
it from the Chinese food place.
Got to chug it.
How big a bottle? 2 liter?
You got to chug no, people seem to be doing like 16 ounce.
That's still a lot.
And you got to chug it to see if you can. And what's happening is no one can, but people are still doing it. One, it makes you either belch like ridiculously. Like it sounds like the devil is like coming out of you, or it's making people like straight up vomit. Like they can't handle that.
Nice. What if we slipped an Alka-Seltzer into one of those bottles?
Oh shit.
Pigeons. That's what I heard.
Mentos.
Yeah. Mentos, they chug and they blast off like a rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got a 2-liter. And the only reason I have a 2-liter is because I went to the Chinese food place and I ordered so much. And they give you free sodas. So I said, let me get Sunkissed.
I hate Sprite.
Yeah, so I get.
You don't drink caffeine.
So I said, let me get a Sunkissed and let me get a Sprite. So she gave me like
Sunkissed
4 cans of Sunkissed and a 2-liter of Sprite. I'm like, didn't order that much food.
Fanta's better than Sunkissed.
What's better?
Fanta. You've never heard of Fanta? Or Fanta?
You mean Fanta?
Is it Fanta?
It's Fanta, like Pharaoh. It's the Pharaoh's drink.
I say Fanta? I mean, you could be right. Fanta.
Okay, I could be wrong.
It's better than Sunkissed.
All right, so someone says, this is mine. It goes to court. Like small claims court, they're saying. Okay. So, oh, God, I got the big one again.
Good. Then read it up to 10. I don't know. Just read it
10.
up to 11. Whatever. I can't even tell numbers.
When someone delivers to another a donkey, ox, sheep, or any other animal for safekeeping, and it dies or is injured or is carried off without anyone seeing it.
Good. An oath before the
No. The 11's right there. It doesn't have the answer. All right. An oath before the Lord shall decide between the two of them that the one who has not laid hands on the property of the other, the owner shall accept the oath and no rest. I just lost myself. I have no idea what the hell I'm reading.
Yeah, that's weird.
Let's start over.
So if something happens to a donkey, so after we make an exchange, right, and something happens to the item, right, an oath before the Lord shall decide between the two of them that the one. Oh, I see. I give you like a brand new Star Trek box set, you give me money. You wake up the next day, your Star Trek box set is gone. We have to go before like a court, and like I gotta prove like I don't have his, like I didn't take it back. I ain't steal it. You know what I mean?
Right. All right, I'm thinking this where it says if your donkey, ox, sheep, or any other animal is carried off without anyone seeing it, I'm assuming they had to revise that law. Because first of all, if you can carry off an ox
a donkey
or a donkey, it's all yours. So if you just put a leash on them and led them away, that's a loophole in the law. I'm like, I didn't carry anything off.
That's funny. If you carry off an ox and it's all yours,
Yeah, you
got it, man.
Do the fireman carry?
I'm certainly not going to stop you.
Yeah, right.
Who am I? You're going to fuck me up.
Right. Okay, wait. There's more to this. The owner shall accept the oath and no restitution shall be made.
All right.
So basically, if you say, Scott, I swear I didn't steal your car, I have to accept that. I accept your oath.
Yeah.
But if it was stolen, restitution shall be made to its owner. If it was mangled by beasts, let it be brought as evidence. Restitution shall not be made for the mangled remains. That's fair enough.
Yeah, so that's like Joseph. Like when Joseph was fucking, when the brothers said, Joseph was mangled by like wild animals, that's all right.
Do you think this was like a retroactive law to pardon Joseph's messed up brothers?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't mean no about that. I mean, no, I'm not really thinking. I'm just...
All right.
I explained to you what's going on.
All right.
I'm not thinking.
Read the next one, man.
All right. Exodus 22, verse 14. When someone borrows an animal from another and it is injured or dies, the owner not being present, full restitution shall be made. I mean, that's obvious, right? So if I like borrow some of your shit and I fuck it up, I got to pay you back for it.
Yo, like my New York Daily News 1986 Mets scrapbook with all the articles where you put a fucking mustache on Darryl Strawberry and wrote douchebag with an arrow pointing at him. I never got restitution for that. Oh, you don't remember that?
I mean, was I wrong?
No, you were wrong to do it, though.
I don't remember that at all.
I remember it
I
distinctly.
was such an asshole. I'm
So
sorry,
I love that
Scott.
book,
I'm sorry.
man. They had every newspaper clipping from the Daily News.
I used that book for a college speech class. We had to take an article and read it as like a speech, and I read a Mike Lupica column as a speech.
So you used my book to get yourself this great education and open up doors to your future while I'm running the streets trying to get by, and then you return said book with graffiti in it.
I mean, when you put it that way, yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well, Scott, it's obvious you couldn't figure out what to do with that book.
Whatevs.
All right. So, blah, blah, blah. So now we're up to social.
No, we forgot the second part. If the owner was present, there shall be no restitution. If it was hired, only the hiring fee is due.
Well, I don't understand.
Well, if the owner, like, if I bring my donkey over to you,
Yeah.
and me and you were hanging out, drinking a beer,
Yeah.
checking out my donkey, and like
Yeah.
a wildebeest comes and mauls it, like that's not on you. Like, so there's no restitution for that.
All right.
But if it was hired, only the hiring fee is due. If the owner was present, okay. So if you hire my donkey and it just keels over, it's like, yo, you ever need some new
I'm
drawers?
assuming this extends to not just the donkeys, right? Like it extends to whatever.
I'm assuming as it goes,
Donkeys are a placeholder for anything that.
no, these laws just apply to what they say, but I'm sure as time went on, they had to modify them.
Oh, they added stuff.
It's like this, man. Like how you know how every once in a while you got to go get new droids.
Sure.
And you go and you pay for the droid, and it starts coming towards you, and it blows its top.
Yeah. Hey, what are you pushing on us?
OTD. Yeah, exactly. It's like that.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
And that gets us to social and religious laws. What are you laughing at?
I don't know, every time I see the word religious and law together, it just makes me laugh.
All right. When a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged to be married and lies with her, he shall give the bride price for her and make her his wife.
Okay, you want to break it down now? Because, we have to. We have short spans of attention. So wait a minute. Oh, well, it seduces a virgin. Okay.
So if you have sex with a virgin, you've got to make her your wife. And that includes like paying like whatever it would cost. So
when I first read it, I was like, I was thinking rape. I was like, wait, you just rape a woman and she can be your wife? But it's not. No, it's not. It seduces. You sweet talk. You took her out on some dates.
But in fairness, you don't know. Like in biblical sense,
Snapchatted some pics.
Seduces might mean like against her will in a certain way, right?
I don't know. I'm gonna go with the language here. Says he did it right. He courted her, shoveled out her driveway.
Okay. But if her father refuses to give her to him, he shall pay an amount equal to the bride price for virgins. Oh, so in other words, so a woman, so this doesn't make sense. Apparently a virgin is a different price than a woman who isn't a virgin. But
you bring us back to the used car
if a woman isn't a virgin, she's got to marry the person who made her not a virgin. So then why would there be discrepancy? So why would there be...
I think what you're trying to say is any woman who's not a virgin should be married by the guy who deflowered her.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
So then, right?
Yeah. Oh, but what if the father refuses to give her to him? So that's maybe why you have non-virgins out there.
Okay.
The father's like, no, dude, no. I don't care what you sweet talk. How you sweet talk that you a bum and you ain't getting near my daughter.
Sure.
Does the father have to pay the...
Why is it so... All right, explain to me this. Why is having a virgin so prized?
It's an insecurity thing for young males.
Okay.
Young males want virgins. Older males don't want... The last thing you want is a virgin.
Yeah, that's... Okay. All right.
And, so if the father refuses to give her to him, he shall pay an amount equal to the bride price for virgins. Does that mean the father's got to pay the dude as like a go-away fee? Like, you're not getting my daughter.
No, the father's not paying the guy. He has to pay the father because now the father can... So in other words, he damaged the merchandise. So he's got to pay a little something.
Oh, okay.
Because the father's not going to be able to get as much for her anymore. It's like you've got like a thoroughbred horse, you know what I mean?
Ah, I see it, yeah.
And you've damaged the horse. It's still okay, like you could still race it, but it's not as great as it used to be. So it's gone down in value.
So basically, whether you get married to the virgin or not, you're paying for that virgin price.
Yes.
Because he can't charge the next guy the same
right.
amount. Okay. But he can braid up with the neon letters. Air conditioning works. You know?
It's like ripping off a tag on a mattress once you buy it, you know what I mean? To let other people know, like, you can't, like, buy this mattress.
Yo, maybe that should be one of our projects, too. Like,
what's that?
Like, I'll video you going into, like, a Bob's Discount Furniture and, like, cutting the tag off the mattress and
That's
jetting.
a federal offense, yo.
Federal offense. So storming the Capitol doesn't seem to mean anything.
Actually, cutting off isn't the federal offense. The federal offense is selling it. You're not allowed to sell a mattress with the tag torn off.
Oh, shoot. So this is what you do.
So you are supposed to tear off the tag on your mattress.
Yeah. So this is what we do.
Yeah.
You go in, covertly cut the tag off the mattress. Yeah. I go in later, say, this is the mattress I want.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, there's no fucking tag on it.
Oh, shit. Right.
Half price. So you're going to jail, motherfucker, trying to sell this thing.
Nah, that's lowballing it, not half price. Give it to me for free and give me like money on top of that, or I'm gonna like.
See, you're pushing it. You're pushing it. Then they're gonna check surveillance cameras. Then, like, you're pushing it.
Right.
So you got greedy, man. First crime, you're greedy. All right, I'm gonna read the next one. You, I guess he's talking to all of us, shall not.
Maybe it's like you, like Gandalf. You shall not pass.
Oh, yeah, nice. You shall not permit a female sorcerer to live. Holy shit, this is in the Bible.
This is vague, right? Because how do you prove that it's a female sorcerer? And this leads to eventually the Salem witch trials.
When they're tripping balls.
Yeah, when they're eating like that bad wheat.
You shall not permit a female sorcerer to live.
I
mean, like, so when someone walks in and goes, yo, what'd you do to Judy?
Look, ultimately...
Yo, she was casting a hex or a spell. Like, you can't argue, right? Like,
yeah, it's problematic because unless they go on to, like, lay out specifically like what determines what a female sorcerer is.
Up until very recently, and you know what, maybe still to this day, I kind of think all females are sorcerers
Well,
in some way.
that's exactly what's going on. Like, this is like written by men who are like looking for excuses to basically
For their bad behavior.
Yes.
And like, oh, the woman made me do it.
Yeah.
She
She was like casting spells and she was praying to like the wrong god.
Yeah.
She had a golden calf. She made a golden calf to another god. Yeah. Whoever lies with an animal shall be put to death.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So no bestiality. Why is that a problem?
That's what I was going to ask. You said earlier, like, they're obviously addressing things that were an issue.
Right.
I don't know.
You think that goes back to like Noah's Ark?
I don't. And do you think like enough people got caught doing that? Like if you're in a bathroom with a nudie magazine, you're locking the door, you're making sure nobody knows what you're doing. You know, you're washing your face. You know,
I want to know what you're doing.
I mean, it's hard to bring a donkey somewhere and like get like.
Well, you don't have to bring it anywhere. You can like sneak out in the middle of the night. You know,
carrying it off.
Like bring a little stool, sneak up behind it, and like.
What if you carry it off and bang it?
Well, first you're gonna have to make restitution.
You see what we're doing here? We're assuming that it's just going to be a male banging a donkey. What if somebody wants the donkey to bang them?
I would just like to point out how prescient I am.
Prescient, that's a good one.
We had this conversation in the very first, like in the second episode, in Let There Be Pod. Episode 2, Genesis like 1 through whatever. Yeah. I brought up the fact, like, is Adam banging like these animals? And you laughed at me. You don't remember this?
I don't.
Because I think the wording was like God gave Adam dominion over all the animals.
Oh yeah, wait.
And and I was like, what exactly does dominion mean? Like, is he like banging these animals?
Objection, speculation.
And here we are in Exodus, and God is making a specific law forbidding.
Again,
yes,
what you said was speculation back then.
Yes,
and God's not making these laws.
I guarantee you. If I pull up Exodus right now, this is God giving these laws.
We're not going to do that.
Okay. So we're on Exodus 20.
I can't tell because the staple.
22, verse 20.
Whoever sacrifices to any god other than the Lord alone shall be devoted to destruction.
All right.
Okay, so does that mean?
Yeah.
If I pray to WYSIWYG, I make an offering to WYSIWYG.
You keep saying that.
What you see is what you get. It's an old coding. Like when people build websites, you'd either use a text editor to code it by hand, or you drag and drop stuff, and it's called "What You See Is What You Get." That's
a funny name.
Yeah, so it's called a WYSIWYG. You can't tell you haven't stopped smoking.
Well, Scott's got his wine. I've got my vape.
Yeah. So if I pray to WYSIWYG, I shall be devoted to destruction. Does that mean I'm going to go on a destructive rampage, or I'm going to be destroyed? I'm going down I'm going down the road of destruction, or am I going to be the destructor? Like Gozer the Gazarian.
It's a good question. I don't know. It's open ended. It seems like it could go either way, right?
Either way, it's probably not good.
Like you're on the path to destruction.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either you're destroying or you will be destroyed.
Headed for self-destruction.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. Exodus.
Damn, dude.
Excuse me. The cough's like when you know it's working. Exodus 22, verse 21.
21. Oh, 22, 21. Okay.
You shall not wrong or oppress a resident alien, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. All right, so that makes sense.
And you didn't like it when it was done to you.
Right, so don't be hypocrites. And exactly what Israel is actually doing right now to Palestine and Palestinians is what they're not supposed to be doing, is basically what this is saying.
Oh, wait. What, the way the Israelis are treating the Palestinians?
Correct.
Is going against this law?
Yes.
Oh, that's foul.
You shall not wrong or oppress a resident alien.
Well,
for you are aliens.
Well, Israel is not like a religious state, right? Like Israel doesn't there's not much religion in Israel, right?
Israel is absolutely a Jewish state.
Oh, right.
I would say it was built as a Jewish state.
That was a softball, dude. Like I knew that.
I don't know. Sometimes you don't know shit. Like
That is true. That
it
is true.
seemed odd. Like I don't know.
All right.
All right. So that makes complete sense. You shall not abuse any widow or orphan. Self-explanatory.
Now, what does abuse mean? Like get some sympathy sex from her? Like let her cry on your shoulder? Like when your partner at work dies and you like go console his wife and take advantage of his wife and kids?
I mean, in many ways, this is like our Constitution, right? So it's like, I forget which amendment, like the 7th, like no cruel or unusual punishment shall be like administered or whatever. Like what's cruel or unusual? So like this is the shit that's open to interpretation. So like you shall not abuse any widow, and then like it's up to the courts to determine what does abuse mean.
Gotcha. And in this day and age, like now, today, present days, that I'm sure that abuse bar has come way down. Like back then, you could probably smack the shit out of an orphan.
Oh yeah, any microaggression
now
is like
now you can't even comment on their shoes.
You can't even call them like a widow or an orphan. You know what I mean? No, yeah, they're not you know,
previously married to a living person.
Yeah, right. Corey Bush. You know who Corey Bush is, right?
I have no idea.
She is one of the members of the squad. She's in the House of Representatives. You know the squad, like AOC, Ayanna Presley.
That was the only two I really know.
So,
and the other, no, there's another one.
So Ilhan Omar,
right.
know.
So she's the fourth one?
Rashida Tlaib, you know.
Oh, there was only 4.
There's like a bunch of them that got elected that do nothing for us. Because apparently they need
like the third tenor.
They need more people to be elected. They need 50 people, 60 people before they do anything. But whatever. All right, I'm not going to rant about them, even though I could. So Corey Bush on Mother's Day, I forgot the wording, and I shouldn't even bring it up because I forgot the wording. She didn't wish. She didn't
with
wish
children, birthing people or something.
That's what it was. She wished birthing people, you know.
And didn't she
Happy Birthing People Day or something like that. And I was like, but that's a mother. That's why would you? It's mother. First of all, it's Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day. I'm all for a Birthing People Day if you want to have that too, but that's not what that day is. That day is Mother's Day.
Yeah, let's have a conversation about that before you go
and
out there.
If you're saying that someone who gave birth identifies as a male, well, then we have Father's Day also.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
so if you have a child, either you're a mother or a father.
Only in your binary world.
I guess, right.
Yeah.
You could be right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You could be non-binary.
I don't think you throw it out without a conversation first, though. And then expect everybody to understand. And if you don't, you're a Neanderthal.
Right. So my issue is not with the sentiment of being inclusive to people who are non-binary or trans. My issue is like the takeover of that particular day when, you're a legislator.
Right.
Go and like.
That's an actual attack on Mother's Day, unlike the fake attack on Christmas that's going on. Like
correct.
The non-existent attack on Christmas.
So that gets us to you shall not abuse any widow or orphan. I'm sure widow or orphan is very antiquated language that cannot be used anymore.
Yeah. If you do abuse them, when they cry out to me, I will surely heed their cry.
Thank you. If you do abuse them, when they cry out to me, I will surely heed their cry. This is God. This is God speaking to Moses, laying down the laws.
All right.
No, I know what I'm talking about. I might be stupid now, but the fog will wear off eventually.
So now,
my wrath will burn, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall become widows, and your children.
And then who's going to abuse them? And the legacy just continues, man. Because, all right, so now I got a dark thought. So now these rules are for the Hebrews, right?
For the Israelites, yeah.
Right,
the Hebrews, Israelites.
But they're Israelites now?
Yeah, they're the same. Hebrews and Israelites.
What are we calling them now?
Either one is fine.
All right. I'm not calling them Israelites now. Jacob is now Abraham. Abraham is now Joseph. Joseph is now Cletus. So anyway.
It is the nation of Israel at this point.
So the Israelites. So now with this, if they were to abuse a non-Israelite orphan or widow, they would not cry out to WYSIWYG because they don't believe in the Israelite God. But so if they smacked around an Egyptian orphan, the Egyptian cried out to their God.
Yeah.
This God's not going to do anything about it because he's not going to heed their cry to him because they're not going to cry out to him.
Because whoever sacrifices to any god other than the Lord alone shall be devoted to destruction.
So it's almost a free pass to smack around widows and orphans of any other faith.
Right, but then the next line is, you shall not wrong or oppress a resident alien.
What if you go on a road trip to some backwater country, the law's not around too much, and you just go smacking around orphans and widows?
Yeah, at this point, God's not like worried about road trips. The only road trip he's worried about is the one that they're going to be on for the next 40 years.
All right, fair enough. All right.
But yeah, you're right. It's kind of like it's a loop caught in itself.
It's like that snake eating its tail.
Ouroboros.
The hell are you talking about?
It's called Ouroboros. That's the name of the snake that's eating its tail.
Oh, I didn't know it had a name.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thought it was like Mobius strip or something.
You didn't think it had a name? It's like a famous like image.
Yeah, no.
You just thought like...
I don't know. I guess so.
I know you don't know, but assume it has a name.
If you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, you shall not deal with them as a creditor. You shall not exact interest from them.
Okay. What?
Does that translate anywhere to the modern? No, I like it too. But does that translate anywhere in the modern world?
I'll tell you where it should translate to the modern world.
Not where it should, does it?
Oh, no.
I never got a zero interest loan.
No, it doesn't translate.
I'm not an Israelite, though.
It doesn't translate to the modern world.
Okay.
I mean, a person to a person can make a loan without interest.
Yeah. So in Israel,
he's not talking to a banker, right? He's just talking about
like here's $20.
Yeah, like people to people.
Right. Oh, like you're my boy. Here's $20. Give me
Right.
25 when you get a chance. No, that's not good.
Right.
Okay, that's cool. If you lend money to my people, I'm sure somehow this was expanded into the modern day banking industry, and somehow somebody's getting a deal here.
Oh, I see. Like a secret club that like
certain people get 0% interest, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Like how do you think like people like Bezos and Musk are able to survive if all their like wealth is tied into stock, right? Like when they say like this person's net worth is 180 billion, right? The person, that's not liquid. The person doesn't have 180 billion dollars in a bank that they could just pull out. That's like their stock. But how are they able to live and afford to fly and jets and this? Somehow there's like this scheme where they borrow against like their stock, but they borrow it in perpetuity. Like they never have to pay it back. I don't know like how it works, but like they've got the system figured out, you know what I mean? Where they could be like, we don't pay taxes because we don't take a salary because like everything's wrapped up in like, you know, our stock. But yet, like, that doesn't prevent them from buying mansions and yachts. You know about what Bezos is doing in Amsterdam? He's having a yacht, a super yacht, built in Amsterdam. He's going to pay to have a bridge.
They changed that.
Oh, they're not going to do that anymore?
They're going to, like, I think, don't quote me on this. I was talking to my dad, and he said he read something where they're going to set the ship sail without the masts. To get under the bridge and then mount the masts.
But just the fact.
Put a hinge on those fucking things.
But just the fact that there's...
you have that kind of money.
It's like, yeah, it's like Dr. Evil shit. You know what I mean? It's only a matter of time before, like, they're creating, like... Elon Musk is, like, experimenting on animals, implanting, like, chips into their heads now. He wants to, you know, do, like, a neural link.
Nice.
You know, like, onboard display for humans, like...
No,
like
maybe
you see in sci-fi shit. So he's experimenting on like animals now. But like the point is like these billionaires, just because they have the money, there's no one checking the ethics or the morals of what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like we're supposed to live in a society.
Congress does that all the time. Congress is taking care of us, watching out for us. They're checking this bad behavior.
All right. So yeah. So interest-free loans for your friends. If you take your neighbor's cloak in pawn, you shall restore it before the sun goes down. If you take your neighbor's
I'm not cool with
cloak in pawn, what's a cloak?
His clothing. So, because they say, for it may be your neighbor's only clothing to use as cover.
Oh, okay, I see.
In what else shall the person sleep?
Why would you take your neighbor's cloak and pawn?
Because they'll say, give me that. Hold on to my cloak as collateral.
Or maybe you're up to no good and you need to like switch clothes because someone's looking out for like, yo, we're after like this guy in a hoodie. And you're like, yo, let me get your shirt. Hold on to my hoodie.
Wait. And then when the cops are on close to them,
yeah,
you go find your buddy and go, here's your cloak back that you wore during that robbery because the sun's going down. Busted.
Yeah. That's weird.
Bad boys.
I don't understand this.
I'm just going to say, listen, anytime I want to borrow something from you, I'm going to give you my cloak around 6:30 p.m. Because I'll be getting that shit back in like an hour.
Yeah. Everything's before sundown.
Wait.
It seems like there's laws while the sun is up. And then, like, as soon as the sun goes down, like, anything goes. You can murder a motherfucker in your house. It's the purge.
Maybe cloaks of the day were like kind of like knife proof, so you need that shit at night because people are burgling.
Like chainmail.
Yeah. Oh yeah, chainmail. Nice. And if your neighbor cries out to me, I will listen, for I am compassionate.
Yeah, he's
shown a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know what they say? Trust people's actions, not their words. Right. Actions are who they are. Words are who they want to portray.
A narcissist does believe that they're like a really compassionate and good person.
That is true.
That's like a huge part of what narcissism is. Like, how dare you say that I'm a narcissist?
I'm not going to name names or anything because I'm still employed. But I had somebody say about themselves, I have a heart of gold, after describing like ridiculously heinous acts they did to coworkers. I don't mean heinous like, say like right. just like fucked up things, like heartless things you would do to fellow employees. And well, but I have a heart of gold. Well, who told you that? You're the only one saying that.
You should go down that DSM checklist for this person. Remember the one that we created for God? Like, see what
the one we created.
They have. Well, not the one that we created. We've read. Mm-hmm. All right. You shall not revile God or curse a leader of your people. I don't like that shit at all. That's like America, love it or leave it.
Yeah, you can have the first part of your fucking statement here because I don't give a shit. The second part?
Yeah. You can't curse a leader of your people. Fuck that. That's like some fucking communist, like Chinese, like bullshit right there.
Putin, all that shit.
Yeah. See, I said Chinese, right? Because I have brain fog. I was trying to think of the word authoritarian, and I couldn't think of the word authoritarian, so I just blurted out Chinese shit.
So do you get frustrated that you don't know the words, like they're not coming to you, or do you get frustrated that you just like sound like a normal human being once in a while, man?
I'm frustrated that the word's not coming to me because I'm used to it coming to me.
Or do you feel upset because you're not coming off as smarter than the person anybody around you? Like, I need to use a big word so people think I'm smart. I'm not smart.
I mean, there's probably definitely some of that involved.
Of course, that's right. We're going to get to the bottom. This podcast is a secret.
No, there's definitely some of that involved. I'd say that might be like 20% of it, But I'd say 80% of it it's like an athlete, that used to be able to do a certain thing. And then as they get older, like, they can't do that thing anymore.
Totally frustrating.
And it's super fucking frustrating. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes you want to lash out.
So the fact that I'm unable to, like, pull up authoritarian on command the way, like, I normally would be able to, and I'm just like, and I blurt out, like, Chinese, that's frustrating to me.
Understandable.
It's not elegant, and it lacks the nuance that I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm. Did you think you were going to join a podcast that was wrapped in a therapy session? Because that's what we're doing to you, man.
Okay.
That's why we're really here.
I mean, we're just talking.
Yeah. It's not your fault.
You're hardly, like, qualified to be anyone's therapist. I mean, you are more fucked up than, like, anyone.
I am super disarming, so you don't realize I'm...
Are you still in therapy, by the way?
I am not.
You haven't found a new one yet?
I haven't looked.
Oh, okay. You feel all right with that?
You feel all right with that? Being in the same small room with me after all I've done and seen. All right. So you shall not revile God. What exactly does that mean?
Or revile God? Like, think bad of him. Like, talk shit about him. Same thing as, like, or curse the leader of your people.
Fine, good enough.
So basically, I mean, look, on the one hand, I get it.
You shall obey.
Look, they're in the desert. right?
So with no name.
You almost like sometimes the worse the conditions that you live in, sometimes you need like an iron fist, you know what I mean, to like maintain control, like emergency conditions.
So you having an iron fist around the poor and the helpless is just doing them a favor, huh?
Seriously, think about it.
I'm not thinking about this at all.
It's martial law. Like, you got to be living under martial law. You're refugees with no home right now, and you're trying to keep a group of people together in order to create like a kingdom somewhere. So you can't like let people stray or like go out on their own.
I don't like the term
So you
kingdom.
need to rule with like an iron fist. I'm not saying I'm approving. I'm saying if you're looking at it from the perspective of God trying to build a nation, and these people are going to be wandering in the desert for this amount of time, it makes sense that he would say, obey like your fucking leader. You know what I mean? Because
he's corralling his people. They don't
so yes, but in the modern day sense, this is nonsense.
Okay. Right. You shall not.
I'm sorry. Wait a second. You're making it seem like I'm being silly or I'm being stupid for justifying this.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, that's fine. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion.
All right. Are you saying like I'm a God lover?
Your kingdom. You want to build kingdoms.
Yeah.
And then you follow it up with a nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, kingdom. Yeah, of course you want to consolidate your power and have power over people. That's what a king does.
Yeah.
I ain't living for no king, man.
Okay.
You know Dave Kingman?
Sure.
Yeah, early 80s Mets
That guy
player.
was like a galoot.
Yeah,
he was like the definition of a galoot.
I don't know what a galoot is.
You know, like just like a big, like lumbering guy. Yeah, like an oaf.
That can hit a ball like 800 feet.
Yeah, just like either strike out spectacularly or hit the ball like into the parking lot.
Yeah, bust the windshield. Yeah. All right. You shall not delay to make offerings from the fullness of your harvest and from the outflow of your presses.
All right, so like...
He's like keep the supply chain moving.
Keep what?
The supply chain moving. You shall not delay to make offerings from the fullness of your harvest. So you're harvesting the food. Give it up immediately.
I take it more as being generous, like be generous.
Well, offerings, are these offerings to God?
You shall not delay to make Oh, yes.
Like,
yes.
Give me your shit now.
Yes.
Because we're on top of this mountain in our spaceship, not showing ourselves. Leave the shit at the foot of the mountain in the basket.
We're trying to collect like dilithium crystals so we can get back to like our fucking planet.
Yeah, so leave the shit in the basket. We'll pull the rope up. Like, don't fucking delay. We're on a fucking timeline here, people. Your ass stinks. Yeah. Your water's yucky.
Yeah, our replicators are broken down. We need like,
replicators. We're not talking about 24th century tech here.
No.
No.
Well, one of the possibilities was time travel.
Good point.
Yeah. All right. The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. I don't know what that means. What's he saying?
To the following.
Oh, by the way, this is still part of 29.
Oh, do they follow up in the next sentence explaining it? No, they don't. The firstborn of your sons shall.
So hold on. I'm sorry. So hold on. So Exodus 22, verse 29, you shall not delay to make offerings from the fullness of your harvest and from the outflow of your presses.
Which is, I guess,
the
wine,
firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. That was 29. So those three sentences are all part of the same verse.
All right, so I'm just going to go back to our spaceship on top of the mountain. They need the harvest for ethanol to make ethanol or E85 or switchgrass fuel.
Right.
And the wine...
They got to get the flux capacitor working.
Right. And the wine... They just need that shit because, they get drunk off that shit too.
The firstborn of your sons.
Yeah. Who's doing the fucking labor? You think these fucking prissy bitches on the fucking ship
are going to
repair the warp engines? No. They fucking got these fucking mamalukes.
Or maybe it's like in Star Trek Discovery, like where they have like that entity that like is the key to the warp drive that feeds the warp drive.
I'm not really a big fan of Discovery until like season 4.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it sucks.
But like the reference I'm making.
Yeah, I heard of it.
All right, so what I'm saying is maybe they need like human children, like males. Maybe that's what the fucking that's what the foreskins are for. See, I couldn't think of the word foreskin just now.
No, you just got really excited when you thought about a dick.
It took me like I had to go through like steps to get to the word foreskin just now. You see what I'm saying?
There were no steps. You went
No, I was like the penis. I was like trying to like. This is what I'm saying, man. I can't think of the word foreskin.
Yeah, well, that's probably not an awful thing. Outside of this podcast, are you using that word?
That's what they're
often?
using the foreskins for.
Yeah. All right, foreskins and all right.
So we're on verse 30.
You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. 7 days it shall remain with its mother. On the 8th day you shall give it to me. So they're getting the firstborn sheep, oxen. Dude, man, they're feeding these aliens. They're feeding these aliens. And they're making it sound like just the first one, so it sounds like it's ritualistic, and it's like there's a reason behind it, like the first, and you're making sacrifices, and they're making it, but you're just feeding them. Trust me. If there were 2 spaceships here, you'd be given your first and second to feed both populations.
So I really like this premise, and we could definitely like go down this road and have like a whole conversation about it being aliens, because logically speaking, it makes more sense and is more realistic than God.
My father was right.
But here's the thing. I'm going under the assumption none of this really happened. I'm going under the assumption like Moses wasn't real. He wasn't really at Mount Sinai. This was written, let's say 1,000 years ago. What is the purpose of like the rabbis or whoever wrote like these books that became the Old Testament? Like in their time when they were writing it, why did they want people to make these sacrifices?
I think so. What you said early on, I thought it was premature when you said it like in the first or second podcast episode. It's about control.
To keep them humble.
To keep them poor too.
Right.
You got to give up 1 ox, 1 sheep, 1 donkey. You might only have 1.
That makes sense.
Or you might have 2, and that makes you pretty poor.
That makes sense.
Why would... When you got Joseph walking around like a flock of 3,000.
But why would these academics want that? So in other words, I don't think these, like the people who are writing these were like working for kings.
No,
I think they were like cloistered away academics.
Yeah. Again, back to what you said. Those monks were locked in a tower with a candle and said, copy these books or... You're not getting shit. You're in a tower. You're getting locked in the tower, man.
Right.
They were forced to do it. And make the books pretty. Illuminate them.
Well, that came later. That came like in Europe. Like this was...
Well, this was written like when? Was this written?
No, this was written before Europe rose to power. This was written before like the Roman Empire.
Before the internet? Yeah.
From a certain point of view.
All right, so he's taking the firstborn of everything.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something else previously we did that there was a firstborn of everything went somewhere?
Well, the firstborn was killed in Egypt, like during the last plague. God killed, remember, Passover is about spreading sheep's blood on like your doorpost.
Yeah.
And then the angel of death came through and killed every firstborn male.
I thought there was something else too that had something to do with firstborns, but okay.
Which should have killed Pharaoh, by the way, because he was the firstborn male of his father, so he should have died.
Maybe it was a technicality. Maybe it was
and
a
the
twin.
assumption, and like the assumption is always like you're always pointing out like these false assumptions that we have from like popular culture. Where you're like, well, where does it say that God is all like knowing or all powerful? So like we've debated the all powerful, where I could see where he's all powerful, but I'm with you on the all knowing. It doesn't seem like he's like omnipotent.
I think when he applies himself, like he's pretty smart. He might
but
be.
He doesn't seem to know everything.
Listen, you can barely come up with a word right now with your brain fog.
That's true.
He's gone through.
But I've never claimed to be omnipotent.
Maybe God's only quit smoking like 3 million years ago.
Okay, true.
And he's like so.
True.
Yeah.
But the point being that it didn't say in the Bible that God was going to kill only children of a certain age of the Egyptians. It literally just said the firstborn males of like each house. He was
setting a precedent about the firstborns. So,
but I'm saying like, why wasn't the Pharaoh killed then? The Pharaoh is the Pharaoh because he was the firstborn.
Because it was
male.
Possible shenanigans. Like he was a twin. He went out first, then went back in. Like the
there's like
story.
loopholes.
He had the red thread tied around his whatever.
His twin is like hanging out of his neck.
Dude,
he ate the twin. In the
I'm
womb.
glad you pointed this out. Do you know why he's taking the firstborn, and people are okay with it? Because he can say,
"Oh, it's like the inheritance."
No. He can say, it could be worse. I could be killing your firstborn. So when you live in shit so long, less shit feels good. So listen, you saw what I did in Egypt? I killed all the firstborns.
Right.
I'm not going to kill your firstborns. You're just going to give them to me. And you're like, oh, that's good. That's better than what I had.
Right.
And that's what corporations do when they, like, with benefits and stuff. Like, it could be worse. You could be that poor schmuck over
I'm
there.
actually doing you a favor. You don't have, that's one less mouth to feed.
Yeah. Yeah. Somehow they're twisting and like, oh, it could be worse.
All right. All right.
Hanging on in quiet desperation, man.
Let's do the last one.
Yeah, let's do
I don't
this.
think we're gonna get to 32 today, or 33.
No, I thought it was too narrow, but yeah, no, this is good. I think we end right here.
Yeah.
All right. Sick of looking at your face anyway.
Again with the consecration, you shall be people consecrated to me.
Mm-hmm.
You shall be people consecrated to me.
Well, set apart, separate.
You shall
special
be people consecrated to me.
So basically,
That makes grammatical sense.
I don't know. If it makes
No, really.
I don't know if it makes grammatical sense.
You shall be people consecrated to me.
I'm not a biologist. I don't know what consecrates a proper sentence.
Therefore, you shall not eat any meat that is mangled by beasts in the field.
Again, is this a problem?
So, in other words, like wolves are tearing up a deer. You see this. You run out and chase away the wolves, and then you're like, this still looks good. 3-second rule.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you eat the deer.
Yeah, there's no problem with that.
Apparently there is. God doesn't want you doing that.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Would you consider a beast, like an oxen, a beast of burden? Camel's a beast of burden.
Sure.
And one of my revelations, like you're humping stuff around, you're moving your stuff on your beast of burden, on your camel, on your hump.
Uh-huh.
So could you translate that to, in modern day, your car is a beast of burden?
Okay.
Right?
Well, it was called like the electric horse or whatever, right?
That's right. That's why I guess. And they judge the
electric
engines on
the electric carriage at
yeah,
first.
on horsepower. They still use the word horsepower.
Right.
So that's a modern day beast.
Okay.
So now, if you run over a possum,
Mm-hmm.
and Cletus is behind you in a pickup truck,
Yeah.
and says, "That's some good eating right there,"
Mm-hmm.
and he picks it up and they eat that shit for dinner, and then
Mhm.
go to church on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
who's full of shit, Cletus?
Mm-hmm.
Your beast that was mangled by a beast. No roadkill.
Well, if
No
there's
roadkill.
so again, here's the thing though. I don't know how much of the Old Testament is going to become invalidated by the New Testament. You're right. Like, you could be right. He could be going against one of God's laws, right? Or Jesus may have completely invalidated, like, a lot of the Old Testament.
That's fair too. But I believe we live in a society where you cherry pick your data and you're only going off like what you want to believe.
Oh, that's 100%.
So
yes.
I don't give a shit what your New Testament says. I'm going by this.
Right.
I am a Exodus guy. I'm not even an Old Testament guy. I'm Exodus only.
So you're talking about you specifically.
Yeah. So
In other words, when you're arguing with someone now, in order to make the Bible look ridiculous, you're going to be using like parts of what we're reading because it is so ridiculous.
No, it wasn't about ridiculous. No, but if I see somebody preaching the word of God and then I see them eating roadkill, I'm going to call them out on that shit.
I gotcha. Okay.
Fucking bullshit. God
Well,
lover.
I'm sure there's going to be a million more like laws that you're going to find people break every day.
Yeah. All right. So I think
I'm sorry. Before we end though,
yeah.
who do you know that's eating roadkill?
I don't know if anybody eats roadkill. I'm sure. Listen.
I mean, you do work like out in the boonies of Jersey.
Yeah. Listen, and I understand if like roadkill. Like, listen, people need to eat. And I'm just making
don't
a
go to
point.
church.
I'm just making it. Yeah.
Listen, do what you got to do, but keep that.
don't-
But don't go to church.
Right. It's like dealing drugs in prison. What you had to do in there, you did to survive. You did what you had to do. But don't walk into church with like possum giblets hanging out, hanging off your right? No, if you're eating that shit, you're probably not like washing. Now, listen, no offense.
What
to
if you
anybody who
use
see that
what if
stuff.
you use the whole raccoon? What if you make the hat? Like the whole thing.
Yeah, all right.
Is
Listen,
that
if
all
you
right?
guys- Listen, there's degrees of everything, right?
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
we're good.
Yeah. So we did Exodus 20. No, hold on. Don't
relax. Someone's getting ready.
All right, you're getting ready. So we were gonna do Exodus 22 and 23, but I think we had a decent discussion about Exodus 22 and my declining mental state in the beginning.
Yeah, and if we didn't waste a half hour on that, this is a reasonably sized episode.
Well, look, I mean, everything's about me, and we're trying to help me.
That's fine. We are trying to help you.
Because helping me helps you.
Yeah. Not sure, but okay.
I mean, one way or another, in the long run, it's going to help you helping me.
Yeah, it's not safe here. I'm blinking twice.
All
Danger.
right. Until next episode. Peace out.
Peace.